difficulty is now more enhanced and exacerbated that Ramachandra left with his wife, but Lakshmana left his wife back in Ayodhya. So question may arise. For Kausalya, Ramachandra said, your duty is to be with your husband. Sita Devi convinced Ramachandra that the same words apply to her and therefore she should go with Ramachandra. The question is why Urmila did not go. So the understanding is Urmila also, I'm sure, wanted to go with Lakshmana, but Lakshmana convinced her otherwise. He said, for Ramachandra to take Sita Devi makes sense, but I am a servant. And if you come with me, I have to take care of you, I have to be concerned about you, and that may inhibit service to Sita and Ram. So it is better that you stay here. And she didn't complain. For her, she said, whatever enhances your service, I'm always supportive. So if that makes you serve Rama better, I will stay in. So along with Lakshmana, Urmila Devi also sacrificed a lot. It's not like necessarily she's in the royal palace, which means she is enjoying. She is also in the pain of separation. Next, Ramachandra dressed in Valkala, straw dress and deer skin, and with banyan tree sap. If you take sap from a banyan tree, it's sticky, it's thick. That's what they apply to their hair and tie it into a jata. And that's how they were for 14 years. Very, very itchy dress because it's rough. Ramachandra is wearing silk, the best silk that's available in the world, perhaps in the universe. Immediately he wears the straw dress. So he can't sit. It's not easy to sit. It's not easy to stand. And if you're walking in the forest, it rubs against the skin, so it's very itchy. Lakshmana also wore it. Bharata also wore it. Shatrugna also had it. Now, Ram and Sita Devi, at least in the forest, at night time they went to sleep. Lakshmana did not sleep. So for 14 years, there's one reference where the very first night they cross over and they're near the Ganga river. Next morning, Ramachandra wakes Lakshmana up. It was just came. But Lakshmana had promised. Yesterday we discussed that verse. Remember? Bhrataha Charanau Gadham Nishpitya. He held Ramachandra's feet tightly. He was looking at Sita Devi. You remember that verse? So he told, the promise he made them was, please take me because aham sarvam karishyami. I will do everything for you. Jagrataha shvapatas chate. Whenever you are awake and asleep. So if he has to serve them when they are asleep, this means he's awake. So for 14 years, they say, Lakshmana did not sleep. During the day, he was doing everything. Gathering fruits, flowers, cooking, digging up roots and berries. Not like cooking was today, let's have matar paneer, or let's have no such food. Ramachandra made a promise that I will eat forest food. Kanda, moola, phala, that is it. So whatever you dig from the ground, tubers, potatoes, it's called kanda, sweet potato, fruits, the simple forest food. When Guha offered him such a wide variety of foodstuffs, he did not eat. And Lakshmana was to dig, cook, whatever they needed to do. Now, he himself is a prince. Princes are not used to menial service, washing pots, clothes, scrubbing the floors. But another prince that we talk about is Narottam Das Thakur. Although coming from a family that is so rich, close to 2 million gold coins per year was their income. That Narottam Das Thakur cleaned the place where his guru, he had not even been accepted as a disciple, but he would clean that place where his guru, Lokanath Goswami, would pass stool in the morning. He would go and clean that whole place and make it ready for the next day. And not 1 day or 2 days, he just did that for days and days and days on end without ever Lokanath Goswami knowing who did it. That's menial service to him. So Lakshmana also did very menial service for his brother, great prince of Ayodhya, digging, finding roots, berries, carrots, whatever foodstuffs, gathering flour, bringing water, constantly running for whatever Ramachandra wanted. Now, because all these characteristics are there in Lakshmana, therefore Narada says, wow, what a brother, what a service is offered. So, what we are doing now is, we are just trying to spotlight the word Manada. To understand Manada, first we need to understand who Lakshmana is. And from who Lakshmana is, we will go to different episodes in the Ramayana. Not many, because I still only have 3 hours with a break in between. Some episodes which highlight the importance of Lakshmana. Actually, in Ramayana, we know that Lakshmana is always with Ramachandra. But there are only certain places where Lakshmana is in the forefront. Otherwise, he's right there. So that's what we're doing. Now, this verse that we read, right? Tam vrajantam priyo bhrata Lakshmano anujagamaha. What's interesting is in this entire 1.5 verses, Ramachandra is only referred to as Tam, him, or he, who went to the forest. All other adjectives are for Lakshmana. So we'll look at that. Priya Bhrata, very loving and lovable brother of Sri Rama. Snehat, out of sheer affection for his brother. Vinaya Sampanna, Lakshmana and Ramachandra, between them, there is no difference in strength, in wisdom, in prowess, in bodily features. They look exact copies of each other. The only difference is their complexion, number one. And second is their mood. He's the older brother, and Lakshmana always carries the mood of I am a servant. Therefore, he's Vinaya Sampanna. Sumitra Ananda Vardhana. Why is he referred to as Sumitra Ananda Vardhana? What is it about Sumitra? We saw yesterday. Sumitra told him, Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi, Mam Vidhi Janakatmaja, Ayodhya Matavim Vidhi, Gacha Tata Yatasukam. She happily said to her, please go. Happily go. And again, the previous verse, she says, Tata Gacha, go with Ramachandra. Now, because he served Ramachandra like that, he is Sumitra Ananda Vardhana. The other word used for Lakshmana is Daita. For Sita also that word is used, Daita. The Daita means affectionate. It's a kind of affection that obliges the lover. So we referred to this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, yesterday. That verse is the Navayogendras are talking to Maharaj Nimi, and in that they say, Tyaktva Sudushtajya Sura Ipsita Rajya Lakshmi. That personality left Rajya Lakshmi, the kingdom, which is very difficult to give up. And ya dharmishta vachana, some dharmishta, there Dasharatha said something and followed that order and yet agad aranyam and went or entered into the forest. And in the forest, Maya Mrigam, Daita Anvadhaya, Dhav. Daita is used there. So why did Ramachandra follow the deer when he knows it's a Rakshasa in his case? Lakshmana also says, that's a deer, that's a Rakshasa. And he points out why that is a Rakshasa. First he says, there's no deer that has golden spots like that. Okay. Now deer, they all flock together. But look, Sita Devi, Ramachandra, this deer, wherever he is, the other deer are running or are far away from him. So he's not one among them. This is definitely a Rakshasa. And yet, Ramachandra followed the deer. What happened to his intelligence? He's been called Dhimata. His intelligence is not working. It is working. But the word is Daita. The Daita is he became obliged to Sita Devi. The obligation is, it seems Ramachandra considered. It's been 13 years. And this young wife of mine, at the drop of a hat, agreed to enter the forest with me and live in such austerity. And in 13 years, she has never, even once, asked me for anything. Anything. Never. Not once. This is the first time she's asking me something. It's not good for her. But because this is the first time she's ever asked, that is the Daita, I will go after that deer. That's how compelling love is. Especially when Sita and Lakshmana are referred to as Daita and Daita. Now, Saubhratram Anudarshaya. Excellent brotherly affection. What is the brotherly affection? That he is such a person, even if slightly someone seems like they are offending Ramachandra, Lakshmana's eyes become red and he's willing to burn the universe if required. But anyone says anything to him directly, not one word of objection at all. We will see. Lakshmana will be insulted. And we won't even notice it because he doesn't respond to it, doesn't react to it. So in the entire Ramayana, Lakshmana plays at least 15 roles. These roles keep changing. 15 roles he plays. So I'm going to quickly go through it. Balya Khela Sakha. He was a friend in their childhood to play with Ramachandra. He was the companion when Ramachandra was following Vishwamitra Muni. He was the assistant administrator in Ayodhya when Ramachandra was the prince. All the projects under Ramachandra, the administrator, assistant administrator was Lakshmana, the secretary type. He was the angry counselor, strongly suggesting Ramachandra to take the throne of Ayodhya. He's a counselor, he gives advice. Advice like that. He built a boat to cross the river, so he was a boat builder. He was a civil engineer, we discussed this. He was a civil engineer in Panchavati. He built the whole house for Sita and Rama. He was the chef. He was a scavenger. You know what a scavenger is? He collects things from here and there. Scavenger to dig pits. He was an undertaker. You know the word undertaker? Is that an American word? You know undertaker? Undertaker is the guy who cremates. So whenever Ramachandra killed Viradha, Kabandha, Lakshmana is the one who's digging the cremation pit. Or to bury Viradha and to burn Kabandha. He's the envoy, the ambassador who took, who first meets Agastya's disciples in the ashram. He's also the envoy and ambassador when they meet Hanuman. We'll go through that detail today. I like this place because this is where Hanuman first meets Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana. Ramachandra doesn't talk to Hanuman, it is Lakshmana who speaks. He's the ambassador when they met Sugriva. When was that? Sugriva, after 4 months of Chaturmasa, nothing was going on about searching Sita Devi. Ramachandra sends a very strong message. And in that, Ramachandra says, only give the message, don't act out the message. Because the message was, Sugriva, wake up and fulfill the obligation of being a friend. Otherwise, that path on which Bali went, means he went to Yamaraj, that path is still open. All it takes is one arrow, which is Sugriva, I send you also there. So Ramachandra says, just convey the message, don't act on it. Because Sugriva, I'll finish it, no, don't finish, just, it is our duty to bring our friend back to the path, but that's all you have to do. Then he was a bodyguard for Sita Devi on 2 occasions. We discussed that also yesterday. He was the security guard for Sri Ramachandra for 14 years. He was a brave deputy and warrior in the fight against Ravana's armies. He was a counselor for Ramachandra when Ramachandra was in separation and despondency. Every time Ramachandra would be crying, asking the deer, the birds, he said he was asking the leaves of the trees, did you see Sita? He was talking to the trees and asking them, did you see Sita? Birds, he asked the Godavari river, did you see Sita? Where did she go? He was a wonderful servant, working very hard, gathering all the essentials, begging from the sadhus in the forest for whatever they needed while they were staying in the forest. And he's also a teacher and a guide on other topics of dharma. So many roles he plays. Therefore, he's Shesha, all varieties of services. Okay. Another aspect of Lakshmana, what kind of love Lakshmana has for Ramachandra, that Ramachandra becomes very obliged to Lakshmana. So in the first canto, 18th chapter, when they're being described after their name giving, how they were as children, Valmiki says, Na cha tena vina nidram labhate purushottama. Who's Purushottama? Sri Ramachandra. Na cha tena vina nidram labhate. If Lakshmana is not there, Ramachandra cannot fall asleep. The other commentators on Ramayana describe a particular pastime. The 4 boys, when they were little babies, infants, they were all crying one day. And the loudest were Sri Ramachandra and Bharata. And everybody in the palace was confused. Why are they crying? What is going on? Are they in pain? Are they in distress? Are they hungry? The 3 mothers, the other queens, the maids, the attendants, they were all confused. So naturally they said, okay, maybe we should call Vasishta, and Vasishta will tell us what is going on. So Vasishta came and he saw the 4 cribs. So Vasishta said, the cribs are not in proper order. Because they were in order of birth, Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrugna. He said the cribs are not in order. You move Lakshmana's crib next to Rama's crib. And you move Shatrugna's crib next to Bharata's crib. So when the cribs were moved like that, reordered, the crying went from to still crying. Then Vasishta Muni said, take Lakshmana out of that crib and put him in Ramachandra's crib. Take Shatrugna out of his crib and put him in Bharata's crib, and all 4 were quiet. That is the kind of love. So, Nachatena vina nidram lavate purushottama. Okay, no sleeping without Lakshmana there. What about eating? Mrishtannam upanitam na ashnati. Mrishtannam upanitam. Even if someone brings Mrishtana, very tasteful foodstuffs. I mean, in Ayodhya Palace, there is nothing called untasteful foodstuff. It is always Rajbhog. Mrishtanam upanitam na ashnati, does not eat. Na hi tam vina. And there is a he here. He means for sure Ramachandra will not touch his food if Lakshmana is not there. Now the Sri Vaishnavacharyas give a sweeter meaning because these two are being spoken about. In one sense, they say that Lord Ramachandra, because all avatars descend through Vishnu, he's the doorway. When Ramachandra in the spiritual world, when he enters this world, through the medium of a Vishnu form. And Vishnu lies down on Anantasesha, correct? And later in the Ramayana, when Ramachandra is introducing Lakshmana, he says, he is like my right hand. He is my Bahir Prana Iva, like my life air. If it is here, that is Lakshmana. That means he's very much one with me, and he is my right hand. So they say that this is the verse. Because Anantasesha is the bed. Without that bed, Ramachandra will not sleep. So Lakshmana is there. And right hand is required for eating. So he will not eat without Lakshmana. So without the right hand, he will not eat. Okay, now we saw all this. Lakshmana, we said, is the Adi Guru, like Lord Balarama is and Lord Nityananda is. So Ramachandra travels through the forest. Sita is with him and Lakshmana is also. Sita is the Hladini potency, the Shakti, especially the one that infuses somebody with Bhakti Shakti. And Lakshmana is the Guru. So these three are necessary because whoever they meet, for Bhakti to begin, you need the grace of the Shakti. And once Bhakti has awakened, one should know how to conduct oneself in Bhakti. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on it. Rupa Goswami has given us what is the process by which Bhakti unfolds. You familiar with that set of verses? Ado Shraddha. Yes? In the beginning, there is some faith, preliminary faith. And the preliminary faith is just very much like, oh, that looks like a temple. Let me see what that is. Or, oh, that's somebody, can I help them if they are unloading their car with books? Oh, can I help you? It's just Ado Shraddha, very, very initial. And that Ado Shraddha blossoms into that is Sadhu Sangha. As soon as Sadhu Sangha is there, what do the sadhus teach us? Bhajana Kriya. How to engage in bhakti properly. For example, perhaps, I know in my case it's true, before meeting the devotees of the Hare Krishna movement, if I came to a temple, the tendency is to walk straight to the temple, straight to where, not to the temple, straight to where the deities are, and offer prayers to Radha and Krishna, pretty much giving them a list of all the things I want, and then go back. Maybe put some dakshina in the hundi, depending on how big the request is. The dakshina is also, in proportion matching that, because the Radha and Krishna survive on bribery. That's all they know what to do. But as soon as we meet devotees, we look at how they do, they teach us. But you enter the temple, you first offer obeisances to the Vaishnavas that are there. You approach Srila Prabhupada first, offer obeisances to Prabhupada, seek permission to approach the deities, go to Gaur Nitai, offer obeisances to Gaur Nitai, who then give us access to Radha Krishna. So that's simple, but that's the sort of etiquette within the temple. That's very small. The bhajana kriya has to come from sadhu sangha. Another meaning of sadhu sangha is we have to be attached to the devotees. Sangha doesn't mean we're in the same room or in the same vicinity of a devotee. That is not sangha necessarily. Sangha means one should be attached to the devotees. From that attachment, bhakti can be fostered for another time. So, in the entire Ramayana, Sita Devi and Lakshmana play their roles. The roles she does or she plays is she makes it possible. She makes the connection between whoever with Rama and Lakshmana. Somebody who's meeting Rama, whether explicitly or implicitly, it means they have passed through Sita Devi filter. The only exception is Shabari. But everyone else has first gotten Sita Devi's grace. It is by which they meet Sri Ramachandra. So she makes the meeting possible. And Lakshmana is the one who engages them in service. It is through Lakshmana everyone serves. So let's go back as a point of reference. What did Ramachandra say? Vibhishana is here, bring the water from the ocean. He didn't say, bring it to me. He said, you bring the water, pour it on his head as Manada. Only then it is conferred that he is the king of Lanka. And we'll see 2, maybe 3 examples of how Lakshmana engages everyone in service. The 4 Vanaras with Sugriva, when they saw Ravana flying in the sky, they didn't know who he was carrying. They just said there was a woman in distress and she threw her jewels down. So they saw Sita, she offered the jewels. That made it possible that Ram Lakshmana will come and meet them. Vibhishana, Hanuman, because he was there with Sugriva, she made it possible for Hanuman to meet Rama. We said the Rakshasis in Lanka who were released by her. Actually, it was Vibhishana, but Vibhishana will only do it because Ravana is dead and he's the king, but he got the kingdom from Rama's blessings and Lakshmana's Abhishek. Now, even Ravana, Sita Devi is in captivity. He is tormenting her every day. Yesterday, she told him, if I look at you, you'll become a pile of ash. Right? She said that to him. But in that conversation, she even tells him, Viditaha sahahi dharmagya sharanagata vatsalaha tena maitri bhavatu te yadi jivitum ichhasi. Ravana, if you desire to be alive, jivitum ichhase, if you want to be alive, tena maitri bhavatu. Make friendship with Ramachandra. See her concession. It's astounding. She says, Saha Dharmagya. This Ramachandra is Dharmagya. He knows what Dharma is. And he is Sharanagata Vatsalaha. Anyone who comes to him, he will not hesitate to give them shelter, including you. But she doesn't tell him, you go become a Sharanagata at Ramachandra's feet, because that may be too much for Ravana to accept. So she tells him, Tena Maitri, make friendship with him. Don't be a servant, be a friend. Even then you will be alive. That is her concession. Guha also, because Sita Devi is there when they meet Guha. Now, in Guha's case, he says that previously also they were friends. But there is no description of active service. Only in the forest, when 3 of them come, Guha then starts offering whole bunch of service. And our hero Hanuman, even when he first met Rama Lakshmana, he addressed both of them, but Ramachandra did not respond to him. He didn't even speak to Hanuman. He turns to Lakshmana and he says something, and Lakshmana speaks. So we will go into that a little detail. Okay. So we are going to go to Pampa Sarovara. Shabari went back to the spiritual world. Rama Lakshmana turned and went in the direction that Danu or Kabanda had told them to go near Rishyamukha mountain to be able to find Sugriva and make friendship with him. So they turned and they're walking. But there are a few chapters of what happens on Sugriva's side. I don't have the time for it, but I'll say it in 2 sentences. Sugriva is in Rishyamukha mountain along with 4 of his associates. Hanuman is one of them. And Sugriva is always scared. What if Vali will come and kill me? What if Vali will come and kill me? Rishyamukha is the only place where Vali cannot come because there is a curse upon Vali by Matanga Rishi. But he's always anxious, so Hanuman has to tell him, you're in Rishyamukha mountain. How will Vali come here? Be peaceful. So from afar, he sees 2 strong, tall, good-looking sages, sage-like people walking. So instead of first finding out who they are, Sugriva already thinks that's Vali. Vali's spies. He somehow is sending the spies here to kill me. Hanuman, go find out who they are. And when you're talking to them, you stand in such a way that I can see your face. And if I see in your face any worry or fear, I know that that is Vali. So stand like that so I can see. Don't, not with your back to me. So Hanuman says, okay, I will go find out. Hanuman, who can change his bodily features, took on the disguise of a brahmachari or sannyasi actually. Not brahmachari, sannyasi. And in that disguise of a sannyasi, he comes to Rama and Lakshmana. And generally, when a grahastha sees a sannyasi, what happens? The grahastha offers obeisances, right? Interestingly, Rama and Lakshmana see this sannyasi and they don't offer any obeisances to him. Now, Hanuman, who's in this disguise, who should be quiet, starts speaking. Although Hanuman is extremely intelligent, but when you're standing in front of the boss or bosses, it's a different thing. So Hanuman asks many questions. Who are you? Who are you? Both of you look like demigods who are descended from the heavenly planets. You have such big eyes, beautiful faces. You are dressed like ascetics. You're dressed like sages who perform tapasya in the forest. But the picture doesn't match because your shoulders are so rounded like Kshatriyas. Your arms are powerful. You're carrying bow, arrows, swords. Huh? The picture doesn't match at all. But when I look at your long arms and you look like the Supreme Lord, as if, like that. And then he, after glorifying Ramachandra, talks about Lakshmana. Evam guna gunair yukta. Guna gunair, which means you have qualities, and those qualities seem like they're constantly multiplying. Evam guna gunair yukta yasya syuhu karya sadhaka. Oh, I'm sorry. No, sorry, not this verse. So then, after he glorifies both of them, he even asks, who is this, your younger brother? We'll come to that verse. Who's this younger person, younger brother standing with you? So Ramachandra turns to Lakshmana. He doesn't even respond to Hanuman. He says something about Hanuman to Lakshmana. He says, Na Rigveda Vinitasya, Na Yajurveda Dharina, Na Samaveda Vidusha, Shakyam Evam Vibhashitu. Oh Lakshmana, one who has not humbly studied Rig Veda. One who has not studied Yajurveda, Dharina, means with full memory, which means his senses are fully controlled, because sense control and memory go together. So this person must have studied Yajurveda very, very thoroughly, that he remembers everything. Na Sama Veda Vidusha. And one who has not studied Samaveda without any faults, means he was excellent expert in music. Samaveda, one of the features is music. But all about Samaveda, without any mistakes and flaws, he has learned it. Without that, na bhashitu, na vibhashitu, one cannot speak like this. And then there are many verses where Ramachandra is glorifying Hanuman. He's not speaking fast. He's not speaking slow that people fall asleep. But he's speaking at medium pace. He's not speaking at high pitch. He's not speaking at pitch, but he's speaking at a way that is very pleasing for the heart. He's not rushing through his words, because one who's nervous rushes through it. One who's unsure, who has doubts in his mind, speaks very slowly and says, you know, so he's thinking. He's not like that. He is speaking, which means he does not pose any threat to us. So Ramachandra analyzed this, like in 5-12 verses, Hanuman's full character. But he doesn't speak to Hanuman at all. And tells Lakshmana, Evam gunagunaya yukta yasya syuh karya sadhaka tasya siddhanti sarve artha duta vakya prachodita. Anybody who has this person as a messenger, duta, for such a person, karya sadhaka, all their work will become successful, Lakshmana. Which means Hanuman is still standing there. Hey, I spoke to him, he's not even speaking to me. Between them, they're having this conversation. So the explicit meaning, that what is visible to anyone, is Hanuman will be a great servant. He thinks very well. He speaks amazingly and gets things done. Sugriva is very fortunate. The hidden meaning is Hanuman would make a fantastic devotee of mine. Lakshmana, somehow or the other, teach him about me. And then Ramachandra says to Lakshmana, now you be careful how you speak to him. Meaning you have to match his ability. So as soon as Ramachandra says that, Evam uktahantu saumitrehe Sugriva Sachivam Kapi. Sugriva Sachivam Kapi. That Vanara there is the Sachiva, the minister of Sugriva. Saumitri heard this and he says, Abhyavashata. Lakshmana began to speak. Now there are two words. One adjective is for Lakshmana, one adjective is for Hanuman. Abhyavashata Vakyagyo Vakyagyam Pavanatmajam. Vakyagya, one who is an expert at speaking. You can be an expert at speaking if you're an expert at thinking. You can be an expert at thinking when you have sufficient experience and excellence in knowledge. And one's senses are controlled. So the same word is used as adjectives for both of them. Abhyavashata Vakyagyo, that is Lakshmana. Vakyagyam Pavanatmajam, that is the expert at speaking spoke to the expert at speaking. So Lakshmana knows how to say it. Hanuman knows how to understand it. So we will go through some verses. When you just hear the verse, it is perhaps not so easily discernible as to what they're speaking. It just seems like a normal conversation. But poetry is not about normal conversation. It is about hidden meanings, right? So we will try and uncover those hidden meanings here. Why? Because Lakshmana is Manada. Manada means one who makes others honorable. And one of the ways he makes them honorable is that he makes them the servant of Ramachandra. You see the connection, right? That's what we're doing. Okay. So Hanuman asked all these questions. There he's waiting. Oh, by the way, before all this conversation starts, Hanuman ends his conversation. He can't keep his disguise. Yeah, he's not a sannyasi anymore. He's Vanara, Hanuman standing in front of Rama and Lakshmana. Because how can you stand in front of both of them, Krishna and Balaram, and put on a disguise? They can see through us. So Hanuman cannot keep his disguise anymore. So he says, I am Hanuman, I'm the son of Vayu, and I am a minister for Sugriva. So Hanuman, one of the questions he had asked Rama and Lakshmana was, Kimartham Tvam Vanam Ghoram Pampa Kanana Manditam. Kimartham, why are you here in this forest called the region called Pampa Sarovara, which is surrounded by Ghora Vanam, a very dense forest. Agatasa Anujo Durgan, you have come here, Agataha Anujo, along with your younger brother. Durgan means very difficult to cross through this forest. Nana Vyala Murga Ayutam. Nana Vyala, varieties of serpents, snakes, Mriga means animals. Ayutam, it was filled with wild animals, poisonous snakes, dense forest, difficult to pass through. Why you here with your younger brother? Question is, how does Hanuman know Lakshmana as the younger brother? When they look exactly the same, which we will find out later. Maybe I'll tell you right now. When Hanuman in Sundarakanda is describing Sri Ramachandra, because Sita Devi asks, from head to toe, you describe Rama, because I want to know if you've seen him. So the chapter has 95 verses, and in 65 to 70 verses, Hanuman is describing the form of Lord Ramachandra. Beautiful description, beautiful. Starting from the top of his head, his curly black hair, broad forehead, big eyes, verse after verse after verse. After describing Ramachandra, he says Lakshmana is an exact copy of Rama. In all of his qualities, in his features, form, everything, they are not different at all. And Sita Devi smiles. So if like that, how do you know the distinction that this is Rama, that is Lakshmana? How did Hanuman find out? So they found out because of Lakshmana's behavior. What is the behavior of Lakshmana? Although he is with Rama, he is always 2 steps behind Rama. So just by just standing a little behind, Hanuman knows that this person is younger. And second, in all of this, Hanuman is observing Lakshmana's mood towards Rama. So Lakshmana, although the same, never takes even the slightest spotlight away from Rama. This is the greatness of the spiritual master. Because in one, every day we sing, Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra. Sakshad Haritvena. As good as God, because it represents. But the Guru never eclipses or masks the access to God for us. So now remember, Ramachandra turned to Lakshmana and said something that such a Sachivam, what a wonderful minister for Sugriva he is. Tasya tad vachanam shrutva Lakshmano Rama choditaha. Inspired by Ramachandra, Lakshmana Achachakshe Mahatmanam Ramam Dasharathatmajam. He spoke on the inspiration of Sri Ramachandra. Okay. So then Lakshmana turns to Hanuman and says, Raja Dasharatho Nama Dyutiman Dharmavatsalah Chaturvarnyam Swadharmena Nityam Eva Abhipalayat. Abhipalayat. There's a great king who's a Dharmavatsala, Dyutiman, effulgent being. That king is one who oversees Chaturvarnyam. That means he is ruling over all the four Varnas. And Swadharmena Nityam Eva Abhyapalaya. By his being a Kshatriya, he is also contributing to the Chaturvarna system, Varnashram system. Nadveshta vidyate tasya. He is never envious of anybody, especially his subjects. Nacha sa dveshti kanchana. Nor is anyone envious of him. That's the first part. Nacha dveshta vidyate. No one is envious of him, nor is he envious of anybody. Such a sarveshu bhuteshu. He is like that with all living beings, humans, animals, birds, insects in his kingdom. Pitamaha ivapara, and he is loving like a grandfather. He didn't say loving like a father because father can be strict. Grandfather is not strict. And then he says, Agnishtoma adivir yagne ishtvan apta dakshinehi tasyayam purvajo putro Rama nama janeshwata. He performs Agnishtoma and such Ishti type yagyas and gives lovingly lot of dakshina to everybody. Such a great person, son, Purvajo, means the oldest son, Ramo Nama Janeshruta. The people know him as Rama. So, here is you heard, it was an introduction. There is Dasharatha, the king of Ayodhya, and then said this is the oldest son, Rama. But here's the hidden meaning. He spoke about who Rama was born to. That means Sri Rama appears in anybody's life if they are like Dasharath Maharaj. That they are Dharma Vatsala. They practice their Dharma within the Varnashram system. Those who are Nityam Abhipalayat, that means who are very, very true to following the Dharma. And for us, the Dharma is the regulative principles, the rules of Bhakti. Nadveshta Vidyate. That somehow we live and behave in a way that we don't evoke anybody's envy, nor are we envious of anybody. And Sarva Bhuteshu Pitamaha Ivapara. Be very loving, kind to human beings. Generally, in a parallel career that I used to do, I used to be coaching parents and couples about relationship. And somehow I found across the board that people are very kind to outsiders, animals, even an ant. Because we remember the story of Narada Muni and Mrigai. But somehow when it comes to their own wife and husband, they're like Rakshasas. What is it that within the household, you can't be kind to each other? Outside the household, like the saintliest of all beings. Something that is triggering within the household. So try and, we used to go through and fix those things. The point is, Sarva Bhuteshu Pitamaha Ivapara. If one lives like that, Agnishtoma. So this Treta Yuga, he did all the Dharma, was the Yuga Dharmas. So for us, yoga dharma is chanting of the holy name. One who lives like that, Rama, can appear in such a person's life. So in the first 2.5 verses, Lakshmana has first given Hanuman Tattva Jnana. Lakshmana is playing the role of Guru, is to bring Hanuman into becoming a devotee. Tattva Jnana. And in the last pada of the verse, the third verse, last pada, he says, Ramo Nama Janaishrutaha. He gives Hanuman, or he introduces Hanuman to the holy name of Sri Ramachandra. So Tattva Jnana, Nama Tattva. Okay? Now the list will add. See if you can pick up what else Lakshmana is saying. You got the hint, what to look for. Sharanya Sarva Bhutanam Pitru Nirdesha Paragah Viro Dasharathasya Ayam Putranam Guna Uttamaha. Meaning is Sharanya Sarva Bhutana. He is the shelter of all living beings. Pitur Nirdesha Paragah. He is completely attached to fulfilling the order of his father. Veera Dasharathasya Ayam is the powerful son of Dasharatha. Putranam Guna Uttamaha. Putranam Guna Uttamaha. He is the one who has the greatest qualities among all of his sons. So what tattva did Lakshmana offer to Hanuman here? What is he describing? Guna. So he is speaking Ramachandra's qualities. That he is the Sarva, Sharanya Sarva Bhutanam. Pittur Nirdesha Paraga. It's a quality in him. Veera. Putranam Guna Uttama. So Lakshmana now gives Hanuman Guna Tattva. We know Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. That's how we understand. So he has told about Nama, he has given Guna. Okay, now let's see. Raja Lakshana Sampanna Samyukto Raja Sampada Rajyat Bhrashto Vane Vastum Maya Sardam Iha Gataha. Raja Lakshana Sampanna. Look at his body. He has all the qualities of a very, very great king. These are called Samudrika Lakshanas. Samudrika means depending upon our bodily features, people can tell us what our qualities are and what our fortunes can be. For example, someone who has a very broad forehead, it's a sign of handsomeness and like a leader among. One who has Ajanubahu, hands all the way to the knees, are the sign of a Mahapurusha, like a king and powerful person. So these Samudrika Lakshanas, Lakshmana, Hanuman tells Sita Devi. So Raja Lakshana Sampanna, his entire body has all these great indicators. Samyukta Raja Sampada. He has access to the greatest of kingly wealths and delights. However, Rajyat Bharashta, his connection with the kingdom has broken. Vanevastu, he's been living in the forest. Maya Sardam, along with me, Iha Agata, he has come here. Okay, so what tattva? I'm hearing random. If you could. Rupa. Okay, Rupa tattva. Raja Lakshana Sampanna. What else? Ah, very good. Introduce a little of Leela tattva. What is the Leela? Rajyat Brashto Vane Vastu Maya Sardha Vivaha. He's giving him the Leela of why such a kingly person is sitting in the forest. Next, let's see if you identify. So, Nama has been given Rupa, Leela, Guna. Is there something else? Find out. भार्याया च महातेज सीतया अनुगतो वशी दिनक्षये महातेज प्रभ एव दिवाकर प्रभा एव दिवाकर भार्यया with his wife Mahateja, the very, very powerful effulgent Sitaya, along with Sita, Anugato, he's come into the forest, but she's Vashi, she's under his control. Or we saw yesterday how Sita is intentionally within the boundaries of being submissive to Ramachandra. Dinakshaye Mahateja. So she and he are like the setting sun, because when the sun is setting, the sky becomes reddish in color. Dinakshaye Mahateja Prabha Eva Divakara. Is Divakara? Who's Divakara? The sun. Divakara, who makes everything bright. Prabha Eva. She Prabha Eva. So she is like the effulgence of the sun. So he's the sun, she's the effulgence of the sun. Inseparable and not different from each other. So what tattva? Guna already done. Any guess? If you're talking about the Supreme Lord, who all you have to talk about? Paraphernalia. Paraphernalia, but she's not. Energy, Shakti Tattva. He's talking because Prabhupada in the introduction to the Srimad Bhagavatam says the definition of absolute truth means God, God's energies, which include the living beings, all together is called absolute truth. Lakshmana is giving knowledge about absolute truth. What is one tattva missing? Is there anything missing? I should give you. Is there anything missing? Some tattvas that we deal with every day. Guru tattva. Without Guru tattva, how can one understand absolute truth? Right? So Guru tattva coming up. Aham asya avaro bhrata gunay dasyam upagataha kritagyasya bahukyasya Lakshmano nama namataha. His introduction. What a fantastic introduction. He did. Hanuman asked, who is this younger? Anuja. That's the name. Anuja means one who's born after. So he asked, who or you are here with your younger brother. He used the word Anuja. Here the word Lakshmana uses for himself. He says, Aham, I am, Asya, his. He does not say Anujo Bharata. Avaro Bharata. Avara. In one sense, one meaning of the word Avara is younger. But Avara means inferior. The verse starts with Aham. No one ever starts a verse with Aham. Aham means there is pride. But he is introducing himself with pride that I am inferior brother to Ramachandra. Yesterday we talked about how one should have a pride that I am a servant of the Lord. What a great pride. Before this, arrogantly I was thinking I am the master of everything. Now, out of humility, I carry the pride that I am a servant of the Lord. Aham asya avaro bharata. Okay, I am his younger brother. But that's not enough. Gunair dasyam upagataha. But when I look at his qualities, Ramachandra's qualities, by seeing those qualities, dasyam upagataha, I have become his servant. And he is such a wonderful, he doesn't say brother, master, because he said dasyam upagataha. He's such a wonderful master. Kritagyasya. He's very grateful. Even if I don't offer any service, even there are mistakes, whatever, Kritagyasya. He's very grateful. So we are taught by Guru, right? But you approach the Supreme Lord, he's very grateful, he reciprocates with you. Kritagyasya, Bahugyasya, he knows a lot, he knows everything because he is omniscient. Lakshmano Nam. My name is Lakshmana. I have been named Lakshmana. When he introduces Rama, he says, Ramo Nama Janai Shruta. Everybody knows him as Rama. About himself, he says, I have been named Lakshmana. No pride, such lovely humility. Every little word, it's an expression of their consciousness, how he's choosing his words. And therefore, Valmiki called him Vakyagyo. So this is now Guru Tattva. And there is standing Hanuman, who's Vakyagyam. He knows what is being conveyed to him. So, Bhakti Shastris, for those who are here. There is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where that Krishna speaks to Arjuna when the topic of transcendental knowledge is there. It's a famous verse, one of the verses you're supposed to memorize and vomit it out in the exam. Do you know that verse I'm talking about? Something about Guru, disciple. You're asking me? Are you asking me? I'm teasing you. Yes. Tadvidhi pranipate pariprashnena upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattva darshina. So the first half of the shloka, Hanuman completed. He pranipatena, although he came as a sannyasi, he is asking humbly all these questions. Pariprashnena is there. Sevaya is coming up soon. So Hanuman did his part on that verse. Lakshmana, Tattva Darshina is showing tattvas, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Shakti, Guru. Tattva, what did Krishna say? Upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattva darshina. That's exactly what's going on. So by this, Hanuman officially becomes the servant of Hanuman. Servant in a general sense, that he will carry on services. When he meets Sita Devi, he says, Duto ham Ramasya. I am the messenger of Ram. So I'm revealing something already ahead of time for tomorrow's. He says, Duto ham Ramasya. That's what he tells Sita. But after meeting Sita Devi, he goes on the top of Lanka and shouts on top of his voice to the entire Lanka in a roaring voice. Dasoham Kosalendrasya. I have become a servant of Ramachandra. It's by the grace of Sita Devi. Then some other time, the one when maybe it's there tomorrow. So this is what Hanuman gets from Lakshmana. Now we'll take the story a little further. Okay, we'll take the story a little further. Hanuman then tells Rama Lakshmana, you've come all this way. Just above this hill is Rishamukha mountain. That's what Sugriva is there. It'd be wonderful for him to make friendship with you and you to make friendship with him. So why don't I carry you on my shoulders? Ramachandra sits on one shoulder, Lakshmana sits on another shoulder, and then he goes up. So Vaishnavacharyas say, why did Rama and Lakshmana have to sit on Hanuman's shoulder? For 14 years they've been walking in the forest. The last 1 year searching for Sita Devi, they are walking. From here to there you cannot go, you have to be carried.
Mountain.
Huh?
It is a mountain.
They've been crossing mountains. All Chitrapur and Panchavati has mountains, hills, the western Ghats are there. So the last is where? Because Sevaya, Hanuman wants to offer service. He acts of that service. Now, when they come to meet Sugriva, something happens. Sugriva, Hanuman tells them, oh, they are not enemies, they are wonderful persons. I think it will benefit you to make friendship with them. So Sugriva comes towards Sri Ramachandra and extends his hand and shakes Ramachandra's hands. Hi, nice to meet you. How do you do? And they agree to become friends. Hanuman lights a fire. They both take vows, Rama and Lakshmana, that we will be friends. We will help each other. Rama says, I will help you. Ramachandra's need is more urgent, right? Because time, the clock is ticking. If he doesn't find Sita, he has to go back to Ayodhya with the news that Sita got abducted, which will be a stigma on the entire Ikshvaku Kula. If he goes to find Sita but crosses 14 years, on the very first morning of the 15th year, Bharata is going to walk into fire and kill himself. So he's in a very time crunch situation. Sugriva is anyway living without his wife. Not that he's not in her, he's also very sad. But Ramachandra says, I will help you first. Sugriva says, I will help you when you help me. So they make a pact, they walk around the fire. But before they do that, after shaking hands, Sugriva breaks a branch of a tree that is full of soft leaves, places it on the floor and invites Ramachandra to sit. Then breaks another branch, makes a seat, and he sits on it. What's wrong with this picture? He's made Lakshmana standing. Hanuman looks at this situation, quickly breaks the branch of a better tree and offers Lakshmana to sit down. Another time, is as they are making their friendship stronger, they do all this yajna, they are again having this conversation. Sugriva breaks a branch, gives to Ramachandra to sit, breaks a branch, again sits by himself. Even then, second time, Lakshmana, Hanuman has to break a branch and offer to Lakshmana. Even then, Sugriva doesn't get the hint. Somebody else is also observing all of this, and that is Sita. So anyway, they've agreed to help each other. Ramachandra says to Sugriva, I'm there with you. Go and invite Vali for a fight. So I'm skipping some details because Sugriva cannot be easily convinced. So there is some story here. Okay, we'll spend a few minutes digressing from this because the interesting details. And it's good to compare Sugriva and Hanuman. Sugriva says, you don't have an idea of Vali's strength. Vali is very, very strong. He's so powerful, he narrates all of Vali's exploits. How he fought with Dundubi, how he fought with this one, that one, went to challenge the Himalayas, Himavan Parvata. Himavan Parvata said, I can't fight with you, go fight with Dundubi. Vali thought, oh, if Himavan mountains are scared of Dundubi, I'll go fight with Dundubi. And they fought with Dundubi and killed Dundubi by punching him and picked up his body that was bleeding and threw it. That went and fell far away in Matanga Rishi's ashram, near Rishabhuka mountain. But when the blood dropped on Matanga Rishi, he became very upset. He said, who's that rascal? I curse whoever that is. If he's anywhere near on the Rishabhuka mountain, he would immediately die. So Sugriva takes Ramachandra to show the massive body of Dundubi. By this time, all the flesh is gone away, but only the skeleton is there. But big skeleton, like a dinosaur-sized skeleton. Ramachandra looks at Sugriva, and Sugriva asks, you think you can fight with Vali? Look at his strength. So Ramachandra, with the big toe of his foot standing right there, flicks that skeleton. And that skeleton flies and falls 1 yojana away, 8 miles away. And Ramachandra says, convinced? Sugriva says, no. When Dundubi was alive, flesh, blood, mucus, muscle, all of it is there. He was so heavy. Skeleton is very light. So I'm not convinced. So Ramachandra says, what else? He said, you see this sal tree? Sal tree is a very, very strong wood. So when the wood is very strong, the green leaf that touches or holds to the branch usually hold very tightly. Notice you can't pluck a leaf so easily, right? Because the branch and leaf holds on to the branch very tightly. He said, my brother Vali would stand under a green sal tree. It's full of thick leaves and shake the tree. And the entire tree would become naked in 2 seconds. And all those green leaves would fall. Ramachandra smiles, pulls out an arrow. That arrow goes through the sal tree, next sal tree, 7 sal trees, goes into the ground. Valmiki says, goes all the way to Patala, comes back right into Ramachandra's quiver. How do you know it went to Patala? Because it has all the soil and other things from Patala it has come back with. Sugriva says, okay, not bad, we can go. So he invites Sugriva to fight.
Vali.
Yeah, Vali. Sugriva invites Vali to fight. Vali, he was in his sleep. As soon as he hears Sugriva's voice, he's angry with Sugriva, jumps out of his bed and comes running saying, who this foolish brother wants to die today? I'm ready to fight with him. And both of them fight like anything. And Ramchandra is standing behind a tree. One thing you're not allowed to ask me is why Ramchandra shot an arrow behind the tree. I'm not answering it today. So they're fighting. Vali is very strong. Plus, Vali has a special pendant from Indra that can take away half the strength of the opponent. So Vali is punching Sugriva, slapping him, beating him, throwing him, crushing him. His bones are breaking. He's bleeding like anything. Sugriva is thinking, result kab aayega? When will that arrow come? It never comes.
Otherwise, I'll finish.
He's done. He's almost dead. He's bleeding. His bones are broken. He's badly hit. Finally, Vali just kicks him away and Sugriva runs. And he says, get lost. Sugriva comes and says, if you didn't want to fight, you should have told me before. Did you change your mind? When you saw Vali, he doesn't say, were you scared? But he said, when you saw Vali, did you have any hesitation? Look at my condition. Everything is broken from top to bottom. So Ramachandra says something very interesting. He says, Alankarena, Veshena, Pramanena, Gatena cha, Tvam cha Sugriva Vali cha Sadrushau Sthaha Parasparam. When I was looking at you and Vali, my dear Sugriva, you both looked exactly the same. Alankarena, both your, somehow your mother got, you know how brothers are dressed same shirt, like that both your dresses look the same. Veshena, Alankarena, all your jewelry that you're wearing is the same, your dress is also the same. Pramanena, your presence is exactly the same. Gatena, the way you both are speedily moving, you look exactly the same. So what to do? Sadrushav, exactly. Sadrushav staha parasparam. So I could not recognize who's who. And if I don't recognize and I shoot an arrow by mistake, if I kill my own friend, I would have violated friendship, no Sugriva. So Govinda Raja and others say, now here's a very odd statement by Sri Ramachandra. Is he lying? No. But his statement seems the Sugriva is confused. The way they analyze it is Sugriva has been living in the forest, right? Vali is living in the palace. So this guy has become a little slimmer, eating forest food. That fellow is eating palace food, royal food. So how are they both the same? Distinction is there in muscles. Second, he says, Veshena, the dress. Vali has this pendant around his neck. Sugriva doesn't have. It's like that puzzle in school. Spot 10 differences. There is a difference there. He says, Pramanena, Gatena. He's been living in the forest, afraid. Vali is strong, powerful, presence is big. He's a king. So how are they not same? Or how are they same? Right? And he's kicked out of his country, kingdom. So Sugriva is very confused. What to do? What to do? Then Ramachandra says, you two are fighting. Not only all these are very similar. While you're fighting, you're also yelling, shouting, and roaring. Swarena. Even your voices sound the same. Because sometimes you can shoot an arrow without seeing, just from the sound, right? But he says sounds are also exactly the same. Varchasa eva, the effulgence is also the same. Prekshitena cha vanara. Your features also look very same. You look like twins. Vikramena cha, the power that you have also looks the same. Vakya cha, your speech is also the same. Vyaktim vamno plakshase, I would not make a difference. I don't see any difference. So what do you think is the meaning here? Any guesses?
He's getting purified. This is actually, I think that Sugriv now become purified.
Right, but then Ramachandra is saying, I cannot spot the differences. You and Vali, to me, look exactly the same. What is the meaning here? When they are different, supposedly. Ramachandra is not lying because he cannot lie. There's something meaning there. Any guess?
Both are only offering this.
Both are offering obeisances to Narayan. Vali also?
Priya was not paying attention to Lakshmana. That time he was his behavior as
You touched it, right?
Lakshmana.
That,
He ignored Lakshmana.
he ignored Lakshmana, exactly. So Ramachandra is hinting to Sugriva that in my eyes, you and Vali are exactly the same. Both of you are offenders. I don't see any difference. That's the hint. Now our Sugriva Prabhu doesn't get the hint. Although he's called Sugriva, one with very good speech, Griva is neck. So then Ramachandra says, I have an idea. Go back and fight with him. Sugriva is like, wow, I almost got killed, Ramachandra. You want me to go back and fight with him? Yes, yes. This time we'll do it differently. The difference will be Abhigyanam Kurushvatvam Atmano Panareshwara. Abhigyanam, token, or a what's that called? Some identifier. You put on an identifier by which I can tell the difference. Yenatvam abhijaniyam, by which I can recognize you. Dvandva yuddham upadana. When you both are fighting, I can recognize you because you will have some symbol, something that you will have on you that I can tell the difference. And then he says, turns around, he says, Gajapushpim imam pullam. Gajapushpim, big flowers. Gajapushpim imam pullam, they are all blossoming. Utpatya shubhalakshanam. Utpatya, pluck and bring. And who's he telling to bring these flowers? Kuru Lakshmana Kantha Asya Sugrivasya Mahatmana. The Sugriva is a Mahatma. Very great fellow. So you pick the flowers, make a garland, and put it around Sugriva's neck. Sugriva's how many servants there? Hundreds, I mean, at least the four are there and he has a little army there. At least four are there. Hanuman is there. Who's asked to pick the flowers and make the garland? Lakshmana. Who's the one who's offended? Lakshmana. But he says, Subha Lakshanam Kuru Lakshmana Kante Asya. So when you put on him, it will be Shubha Lakshana for him. It will be an auspicious symbol. So Lakshmana makes a garland. Tato Giritate Jatam Utpatya Kusuma Ayutam collected all the flowers, made a Lakshmano Gajapushpim Tam Tasya Kanthe Vyasarjayat. He garlanded Sugriva. So Govindaraja and others will tell us that you've noticed whenever you have to garland somebody, the person who's receiving the garland, what happens? Their head goes down.
It goes down.
Head goes down. So Ramachandra devised a way forcibly in which Sugriva will bow his head before Lakshmana to remove that offense. Now, wearing this Gajapushpa Mala, Sugriva walks towards Bali's house. After every 2 steps, is looking. Rama is there. Rama is there. Then goes back. Some description of the creeper, the Gajapushpa. Sa tatha Shushubhe Shriman. Suddenly Sugriva is called Shriman. Shushubhe became decorated. Shriman. Lataya Kantha Saktaya. Malaya Iva Balakanam Sasandhya Iva Toyada. A Balakanam Sasandhya Iva Toyada. Toyada clouds. Suddenly Sugriva was shining like a black rain cloud in the backdrop of sunset. When the sun is setting and you have a cloud in the sky, the edge of the cloud becomes decorated with a reddish color. That's the visual Valmiki gives us. Suddenly, Sugriva is called Shriman. Vibhrajamano Vapusha. His body became all effulgent. Rama Vakya Samahitaha Jagama Saha Ramena Kishkinham Punara Prasaha. Now, Sugriva went back to Kishkinha. So he has got new strength. So question, he's wearing a Gajapushpa while he's wearing a wonderful Indra given pendant. While they are fighting, is it possible, because they are dvandva, they're wrestling with each other, is it possible that Vali could have just plucked that Gajapushpa mala out of his neck?
And he could have done that.
He could have done that. And again, they could not be distinguishable. But somehow that didn't happen. And Vali was killed with one arrow of Ramachandra. So the purport for it is, what is it that the Guru puts around the neck of the disciple? Kantimala. Kantimala is simple wood hanging on a string. Right? Now this is the mark by which the Lord recognizes his devotee distinguished from anyone else. This is our mark that Lakshmana put around Sugriva in a way. It is very, very important for the Lord to recognize, that's my devotee. Lakshmana initiated Sugriva in one sense by accepting him. Or Sugriva's offense was cleared because now he bowed down in front of Lakshmana. So you need both Guru and the Supreme Lord, not one or the other, both. Somebody asked Prabhupada, when I'm chanting my 16 round Srila Prabhupada, should I think of Krishna or should I think of Guru? And Prabhupada said, how can you think of one without the other? How is it possible? If you're meditating on Krishna, the first thought would be, how do I know anything about Krishna? And if you're only meditating on Guru, the thought should always be, what is Guru giving me access to? Who? Access to the Lord. So you cannot think of one without the other. So see all the lovely transformations in Sugriva, Shushubhe, Shriman, Vibhrajamana, and he goes to fight with Sugriva, Bali, and this time Bali is defeated. The interesting thing is, we'll come back to the analysis of this in a moment. When Sugriva does not respect Lakshmana, do we hear anything about Lakshmana saying something or nothing? Not a word. Because when he is offended, he doesn't say anything. That's the nature. Amanina. Not at all. Now when Vibhishana was also there, there's a whole conversation about Vibhishana. We'll share in very short summary because we'll hear everything about Vibhishana coming up tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is Vibhishana. We'll hear the entire conversation of what happened, but just in 2 sentence summary. Ramachandra says, Sugriva says, Vibhishana is waiting for you. So Rama asks, what do you all think I should do? So they all give their opinion. Sugriva gives opinion, Jambavan gives opinion, Angada gives opinion.
Hanuman also gave.
Hanuman comes last. Then Hanuman gives his opinion. Ramachandra is pleased with Hanuman's analysis, but not fully pleased. But anyway, but in all of this, Ramachandra does not ask Lakshmana's opinion. Because he already knows, Lakshmana knows his heart. He wants to hear what others' opinion. So there also Lakshmana doesn't speak. But for Lakshmana, or for Vibhishana to be accepted, what was the very first verse we started with? Tena toena. You bring that water, you pour on Vibhishana, so he can be crowned as the king. And what was the word for Lakshmana? On which this entire thing we have built? Manava. The one who confers honor upon others. So we'll analyze this Manada coming up after our break. We discussed yesterday, someone asked, how did Ramachandra wind up his pastimes? And we narrated the story of Durvasa Muni coming and Lakshmana being sent away. So Lakshmana's pastimes ended not because he was sent away, because there was separation from Sri Rama. What is the separation? That there is no more opportunity for service in this world. Therefore, Lakshmana wound up his pastimes. That's one meaning. Another is, let's say the spiritual master has to go from point A to point B. Should we expand on this? When a servant or a disciple is accompanying the Guru, then one should be careful where in reference to the Guru they are walking. If the servant is walking ahead of the Guru, that is called disrespect. Right? Because when the king walks, all the ministers are behind him. But if the servant is always behind the Guru, then also you cannot hear the instructions or you can. So it depends on the situation. When the disciple is accompanying the Guru to some place, the disciple is always a little behind. But when the Guru needs to go to the next place, the servant goes first. Balram appeared first. In this case, when Lakshmana is winding up the pastimes, he is the first to leave, so that he can prepare for whatever pastimes will unfold, he can be there. So he left first. in preparation for Ramachandra to come. Then we'll discuss Maya a little bit more open and discuss it. We'll take a break now. It's 2:45. We'll take about 15 minutes because yesterday I said 5. It anyway ended up 17. So I will say 15. Please don't make it 25. Okay? We'll come back in 16 minutes. Oh, your clocks are different. Oh, no wonder. How about this? We'll start back at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. and we'll unfold the Manada word a little bit more from an application perspective. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Praise the Lord.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, there is a slight prasadam is downstairs. Please honor it. Thank you. But please be back by 3.
One second.
So that there was only because it's quite procedures or wait for rather than something take the different.
The Lord is faithful. He has not making.
You see the Lord must Lord the sixth session was having.
Yes, the other key where it was leaking. Can you touch my phone?
Yeah,
I think it's the voltage or something.
yeah, it happened to, it happened with me.
Oh, yours also? I think there's, at your house it's happening.
Yeah, it was
Very rare. Yeah, just comes and goes. It's been there in your house also.
Is it,
So I don't know, maybe it's.
could be a
Very different setting.
Sometimes I get wrong as well.
Ah. That's a Mac?
Yes, that's a.
I think the lessons he does is practicing, not just from the.
Just thinking about that.
No problem. Thank you. Can I get for you? Can I get for you? I can pay.
No, I don't.
I know.
But you are so.
Just because I'm sitting there doesn't mean it. You may happy to bring. You sure?
Deflection. There is opportunity. Try and power to all things.
అదే అలాగే మాట్లాడుకున్నాం నిజం ఏంటంటే రావుడికి ఎవరు బట్ ఎస్ సుగ్రీవ ఫ్రెండ్ అనుకుంటాడు ఎందుకంటే మరి నా బాధ నీ బాధ సేమ్ గానే ఉన్నా అండ్ రామ్ కన్సిడర్ ఫ్రెండ్ సఖ్య భావం You know, in this world, friendships are formed when there are common things. So then commonness allows for friendship. And in that friendship, then you act service. It's a common reason. I make friends with other Indian people. I'm an Indian, I got lost in the country. So when I meet other people, there's something common. It's the commonness. So just say that, okay, we'll have each other. You went out in the rain? What you call? Okay. Okay. That is very strong. That brought somebody from.
He knows the difference. People now touch. That's the speaker now.
Yes.
He's more of the right one. So always have this.
The narration is fantastic. The education is very it's for us.
Yeah.
I can understand it for the book. Who speaks. I always see that because okay, like a robot phone, it's a very special something. It's very difficult. And you have done a great contribution to some of the was being able to you just convey. Great job.
There's always a bit from the UK.
Something. But I like acharyas. So the service is always the focal point, you know. Through our Gaudiya lens. I mean, if you have to understand Ramayana and Bhagavad, you have to have the national perspective. I may know. I can speak from Bhagavad. Like Prabhupada was saying, there are so many Bhagavad Gitas in here. Why are they not becoming devotees? That's the question here. Just like, Arjuna becomes a saint. Why others are not becoming? Something's there in impel the person to think of what. Even when he says, open speaking. Thank you. I often have messages.
Who wants this week to chip
It's not a report. Prasada what you Oh, okay, fine. But not software.
So within 2 days, like.
Why do you thank you?
Yeah, now
I
it's
should-
just
Such a
now the job system. Yeah.
Also, the bench. Also, going in. Cast it on their families. Our families are some for lines are very, very small. It's very cool. So this either I'm definitely you can share that question. Yeah.
I don't know anything about religion. I remember once of the year, I used to focus on it. So, anything. I do very well.
Yeah.
Just a summer vacation.
You can settle
I hope that someday, whichever Indians will act. Don't go by this. This is all written notes. Yeah, it's just news
The way you decline each word.
Your word is book easy. I mean, I will notice this. Wait and
You learned something very fast. There's something.
my grandfather taught me. Whatever I learned, what to work, apply to read the words, what to choose the words, how it fits in the flow. That's how I learned. And for the past year, I figured this studies. But I was missing from that family. Make an effort and mother father also. By the time it was not there, my wife's father was so silent. More Bombay there. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनं नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय. So we'll go back to the very foundational verse that made us approach Sri Lakshmana Deva. See if you can repeat it. I don't have it projected, but see if you can repeat it. Tena cha imam mahapragyam abhishincha vibhishanam rajanam rakshasam kshipram prasanne mahimanada. O Lakshmana, who bestows honors on others, quickly consecrate as king of the demons this greatly intelligent Vibhishana with that water, so that I am pleased. Okay. Manada. Is there a way that can be turned down a slightly bit so I don't speak over Ramachandra's name and him? So our focus is on the word Manada, especially Lakshmana as Manada. So it's an appreciation of, a glorification of, a meditation on Sri Lakshmana. So we said Manada is one who gives honor, or more importantly, one who makes others honorable. Sugriva, and we saw Hanuman and Sugriva. Hanuman became honorable because to him he revealed all the tattvas about Sri Ramachandra. We saw Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Shakti, and Guru Tattva revealed. But in the case of Sugriva, there was doubt. Sugriva represents the sadhaka. The sadhaka who has doubts about the Lord and the Lord's capability. Many times, when a sadhaka faces difficulty, it may be natural or it may be a pattern that the sadhaka is not fully convinced that Krishna can remove all of his difficulties. Rupa Goswami tells us, well, one should have that confidence. Right? One should have enthusiasm, one should have patience, and patience comes because of confidence in the Lord. Avasya Rakshibhe Krishna. What's the word Rupa Goswami uses for that confidence? Utsahan is enthusiasm. Nishchaya. I'm definite that Krishna will. And I'm definite Krishna will because Krishna can. Sugriva had to work on that, he had to build it. So it takes time to be fully confident. I'm saying time, but actually it takes sadhana to build that relationship, to feel that confidence that Krishna is my only protector and he can definitely take care of everything. And I am confident that because I'm at the shelter of his lotus feet, but one should not wrongly consider that because I am a devotee, I practice sadhana bhakti, that my life will not see difficulties. That's the wrong understanding of bhakti. In the 11th canto, when Krishna is instructing Uddhava, he offers Uddhava a particular phrase. That one who is like that phrase, which I'm going to share now, for such a person, life is not difficult. I'm just summarizing what Krishna said. The phrase he uses is Loka Tattva Vichakshana. Chakshana means to the ability to see. Vichakshana means to recognize. What is he recognizing? Loka Tattva. How this world operates. If one can understand, Krishna says, how this world operates, then there are no problems. He experiences no problem. The experience of a problem is not in the body. The experience of a problem is always in the mind. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna, it is in the mind. Matra sparshastu kaunteya, sukha dukkha. It is the sparsha of the mind with the object that you have a sense of sukha dukkha, it gives. Kha is used for sky. Kham mano buddhireva. So kha is the sky. Sometimes the subtle body is all combined into one unit and called kha. Means the subtle body. There is the senses and kha. So experience of pain or joy, right? Pain or joy or happiness or distress is always experienced in the mind. So it is called sukha, dukkha. It is to do with the mind. There are people who may have very, very dramatic problems in their lives, but they don't seem disturbed. Some people only think there will be problems and they're very disturbed. And in between are the, there's a Gaussian bell curve distribution of people in between these two extremes. Dukkha, sukha. So it's in the mind. Sugriva is the one who had these doubts. And the characteristic of a person like Sugriva is that instead of he convincing the Lord that I am fit to be accepted as your servant, the Lord has to convince the devotee that I am fit to be your master. The onus is always on the servant that please give me. When we go for interviews and want to get a job, our job is to convince them, please hire me, right? But companies don't come to us and say, I'm convincing you that you please come and work with us. But in this case, Ramachandra had to convince Sugriva that I'm fit to be your master, your friend. It's Ramachandra has to convince. And in a hidden way or perhaps subtle way, for the devotees also, the Lord has to convince that yes, I can take care of you. I can take care of you. We may say, I'm very new and I had this difficulty, so I chanted Hare Krishna, I chanted one round, or I came for Janma. I'm just making this up, okay? In my realm of experience, people saying, myself included, I was struggling with a problem, and then I chanted Hare Krishna for 5 minutes, and suddenly the solution appeared for me. I got convinced. So that is Ramachandra showing Sugriva, I can take care of him. But we don't chant Hare Krishna for the problems to be solved. We chant Hare Krishna to have a relationship with him, so that he may accept us as a servant. But in the beginning, to a large extent, the Lord acts as our, I don't want to say servant, but he's the one helping cleaning things up. Oh, yes, I'll become a better devotee. So the Sugriva mentality is one that is important to consider. And in that, there are, not recognizing the power of, okay, it's very easy to recognize that my guru mm, is of their fair. But even then, people can offend their guru in different ways. Not offend like voluntarily, but let's say even mistakes happen. But you come down a little, what about the other Vaishnavas who are also representatives of the Lord? They may not be guru, but they are all in line of Vaishnavas. And then we may not, I can't say we, not you, not devotees in this place. I'm just talking in general, in one first person plural as we. I don't mean we in this room. That the sanctity of the Vaishnavas, who they are, may get hidden from our vision. Vaishnavas are very, very special. So this unfolding of the pastime and all that is important, because when one meets a representative of Lakshmana, one's life becomes honorable. And let's consider that a little bit. Prior to becoming a devotee, I'm using the language that we are familiar with, becoming a devotee, one may have great education, possibility, or one may not have education, but usually problems are when we have a lot of it. So one may have a lot of education. And this is what Queen Kunti says, and I'm also listing the same thing. Janma, one may come from a very amazing family. And Prabhupada would laugh and narrate, right? They went to, Prabhupada took his disciples to someone's house in India, or they went to a temple after that. And someone there blessed them. Oh, may you be born as a Brahmana in your next life. I'm already, Prabhupada said, they're already Vaishnava. Why would you bless to be a Brahmana? But that's the idea. May you be born. Janma, Aishwarya, wealth, Shruta, education, or Shri, some wealth, possession, property, beauty, by which she says, Madaha Puman. One can become proud or arrogant. For such a person, Naiva Arhati Dhatu. Naiva Arhati Dhatu. Why? Tvam Akinchata Gochara. One cannot give oneself to you unless they are Akinchana. Akinchana have nothing. They don't bring these things into the equation of the relationship. Nothing. They only bring the desire to serve and the desire to be sheltered by the Lord. So, until one meets Manava personality, in the world, they may get some honor. Oh, such and such family, such and such lineage. Wow. So many degrees, so much money, so much, whatever, good looking, famous, all that may be there. But it's only in the worldly sense. And fame in the world, like anything else, has a characteristic that it will fade. Right? It will fade quickly. But the representatives of Lord Nityananda, Balaram, Lakshmana, they, by putting a kantimala around our neck, like Sugriva was given the Gaja Pushpa, then we become honorable such that the Lord takes notice. So this is the great honor to be recognized by the spiritual master and by being by their engaging us in the service, in the process of bhakti. So before this, one may have different titles before their name. Mr., Miss, Doctor, revered, honorable, whatever the titles before this. But the real honor is when we get a title after the name, Dasa or Dasi. That is the real honor. And by this, and then there are wonderful stories that people prior were so great But they left that was not what they were looking for. This, to be called a servant, is the greatest honor. So I'll give two examples and maybe we'll see if you can share and add to that list. My first thought is for Rahugana. Rahugana was a king. And we know his palanquin was being carried by one of them was Jodha. In his previous life, Bharata was a very exalted devotee. And then when he came after being a deer and then as Jada Bharata, Jada means dull. Although name continued as Bharata, interestingly. But this time here's Jada Bharata. And Jada Bharata is carrying, they found him somewhere. They said, we need you to be a 12th man substitute, come and carry the palanquin for the king. There were ants on the pathway, he didn't want to step on them. So the palanquin, you all know this story. The palanquin got rocked a little bit. Rahugana's ride was not very smooth. He got upset and he yelled and said, I will punish you. And this entire life, Jadabharata had never spoken a word, even when he was being poked and insulted. They were about to cut off his head in front of Kali Devi. Even then, he didn't speak a word. But suddenly, with Rahugana, he decided to say something. And crashed Rahugana's pride in just 2 sentences. Rahugana woke up from his slumber, the illusion, and fell at Jadabharata's feet and accepted him as Guru. And therefore he became very honorable because he got Tattva Jnana or Jnana, called more specifically about Bhakti. He learned from such a great Bhagavata as Jadabharata. And that is the honor that he got that now. That became his possession. The grace of the Lord became his possession. And we can value when we know what it means, what it is, what it means to receive the grace of the Lord, what value it carries. Another is, although Rahugana was an arrogant person, here are 2 people who were not arrogant, but they demonstrated this principle that the real honor is when one meets one's gurus, Rupa and Sanatana. Were they rich? Richest. They were pretty much governing 3/4 of India by that time, under that Nawab. One was chief minister, the other was the finance minister. They were living in big palatial houses. In fact, everybody thought they had converted to Islam. Even they got names also like that. Davir Hasan, Sakar Mango. And the pretty much majority of the Hindu families pretty much stopped interacting with them because they were converted. Because you're working for a Muslim, Muslim employer. They said they have also converted. So they treated them as outcasts. But hidden some Brahmanas would come and they would be discussing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita in their homes. But when they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the first thing Sanatana Goswami says, Kayami, I don't know who I am. I don't know anything. Although people say I'm very learned, I don't know anything. He had straw in his straw in his mouth. He said, I don't know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because true honor only begins after, not before. So any other persons you want to add to this list? Some thoughts to just, because it's afternoon, you have to keep the audience engaged. So anything you want, in the absence of actually making all of us stand up and do some yoga exercise. So explain how Parikshit became honorable after.
he had everything.
Mm.
He was deep, and of course he was a devotee right from the beginning. But when he learned that he was also approaching his end, he wanted the real possession of how to get his life properly. And through Shubhadev Goswami, and I got him.
The stories, the way you've narrated is right on, spot on. There's perhaps the slight modification I might make is Parikshit is a very unique case because he had darshan of the Lord right in the womb, and he always remained a Mahabhagat because of his association of the Pandavas. Someone who's nondescript suddenly becomes very, very great. Narada Muni, for example. He was the son of a maidservant, nondescript life. But by serving Shushrusha of the Bhakti Vedantas at such a young age, heard the voice of the Lord, saw the Lord in his heart, and became Sri Narada Muni. And here, one more from the men's side. Dhruva Maharaj, thank you. Dhruva Maharaj, although the son of a very great king, great lineage, Janma. I want a kingdom. I want to show that Suruchi something. Interesting, huh? The king Uttanapada's wives, their names. One is Suniti, very good Niti. Other is Suruchi, attractive, tasteful. So she is the one, Suruchi said, Dhruva, you cannot sit on this lap. Okay, if you're a father. So that's something to consider as we are all moving forward in our bhakti. Different things to consider. Somewhere you make a note of how are there persons in the category of Janma, like Rupa Sanatan, for example, Aishwarya, Rahugana, Dhruva also, then Shruta. Anybody who in the category of Shruta and Shri. So that's something as a part of reflection and deepening the principle to sit, not only enter, but it has to sit there in the heart. So that's something, if you like, you can work as an exercise for yourself. Now, I will end with a few things here. One small thing. We heard multiple times that Lakshmana is exactly like Ramachandra. This is Hanuman speaking, right? To speak Sita Devi. He is in the Sundara Kanda, 35th chapter, verse 22. This is what Hanuman tells Sita Devi. Bhrata tasya is kasya, who's Rama's? Rama's bhrata, brother. Cha dvaimataraha sumitrir aparajitaha. Dvaimata, from a second mother. Some men have this thing. Hey, he's my brother from another mother. We're brothers. So he's Bharata Tasya Dvaimatara Sumitrir Aparajita. Aparajita. He is the person who can never be defeated in anything. Anuragena Rupena Gunaishcheva Tathavidaha. They're exactly the same when you look at Anuragena. The love, the affection, their personality, their nature. Rupena. Exactly. Everything that's wonderfully featured in Ramachandra is in Lakshmana also. Gunishcheva. What did on the quality, on the point of qualities, what did Lakshmana say to Hanuman? Gunais dasyam upagata. When I look at Ramachandra's qualities, I became his servant. But Hanuman is saying, Gunaischa, oh Sita Devi, in terms of qualities, they are tathavidaha, exactly the same. No difference. Now here's the appreciation for Lakshmana, if you will, is my final what I call the climax of it. Ramachandra was born on Chaitra Navami, so we call it Ramanavami. Bharata was born the next day. Lakshmana, depending on the nakshatra, you can say was born on the same day later or one day later. Because if generally you say that during the sunrise, the nakshatra changes, although nakshatras change according to moon, but whenever the nakshatra is, that's the time. So next nakshatra, Lakshmana. So technically, Lakshmana is 1.5, at the most 2 days younger than Ramachandra. So in all practical considerations, you can't say they're that different. It's just 1.5 days different, maybe 2. But that 1.5 or 2 day difference, Lakshmana behaves as if there's like a 15-year difference between them. He calls Ramachandra. Sumitra said, no, the Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi. Dasharatha is 60,000 years old. These boys are at the most 24 at when this situation is happening. Where is the age difference between 60,000 and 24? And 24 and a day and a half extra. But the mood that he carries, that it seems like the age gap is that big, that long. It's his mood that constantly reflects that he's much, much younger than Ramachandra, and he treats Sri Rama as if he's his father. Sita is much younger than Lakshmana also, but because she is Ramachandra's wife, she's in the category of mother for him. Mam vidhi janakatmaja. Ayodhyam atavim vidhi gachatata yathasukam. This is a far out thing. Even Bharata is even less. But Bharata's mood was also like that. So one, Ramachandra is amazingly great, no doubt. And these devotees, although they are brothers, have such great quality that they treat Ramachandra as a far, far superior when they are very much equal. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead, Sri Balaram. They are both Supreme Personalities. But he takes on the mode of being a servant. And that's what we learn from him and all of his representatives who are empowered by him to learn how to serve. Even then, in terms of application, if you won't mind, I will share one. It doesn't have to be that way, but we share something. Generally, and it's correct also, but generally, we distinguish seniority. I was initiated 2 months before him, so I am his senior. That's I don't have to carry that. Others, when I look at someone and I say, oh, they are initiated first. Being initiated first is not necessarily the entire criteria for seniority. But we say one who's taken that commitment first, from our side we honor them. But from their side, one shouldn't feel, oh, I'm senior. You see the distinction. Lakshmana and Rama, from this side, he treated him as a lovely brother, young brother. From here side, he said, Gunaishcha dasam upagata. Sri Rama is a personality that the residents of Ayodhya and the ministers of Dasharatha, they speak about Rama's qualities. And they say that even as a young boy, not even 12 or just around that age, when he goes to school to learn Dhanurvidya and other things, as soon as he sees someone senior, he said that in the recess time, he would run and sit with them and serve them and learn from them. And they give three categories of such persons. And there is an order of it. It says, Shila Vriddha. Vriddha means old, but Vriddha means mature, right? We talk when we're talking of Shabda. Shila Vriddha, Jnana Vriddha, Vayo Vriddhaischa. So age is given third rank. So age alone doesn't make someone superior, but age has a reason. It's there, but it's not the reason. Even Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva is sitting, Narada is sitting, but Shukadeva Goswami spoke. But Vayovriddhi, that means we should honor someone physically older than us as superiors. But there are two more, even higher. The next up is Jnana Vriddhi. One who's mature with knowledge. And the first one, he says, Sheela Vriddhi. One who has the character of humility, actual Vaishnava qualities that shine in a person, even if they are younger, they are considered Vriddhi, as superior, older, more mature. And so honor must go to that. In front of Ramachandra, none of them technically really, because he's the supreme personality. But he considers them as superiors and goes and sits with them, serves them, and as if he's receiving things from them. So Sheela Vriddhi, mature in one's character, stands far above. And one becomes Sheela Vriddhi or Jnana Vriddhi by Lakshmana's grace. I'm saying Lakshmana because we're talking about Lakshmana. You can say Balaram or Nityananda, Guru Tattva. That grace is very, very important. And when one receives it, one is to honor it very carefully. Because that makes that person makes us honorable. He is the Manada, genuine Manada. And I'll end with this that when one considers, hey, what my past was, and now I'm sitting in the assembly of Vaishnavas. From somewhere to somewhere. That is because of Manada. That is what is my qualification to be? I'm not speaking for you, I'm just reflecting that. What is my qualification to be in the assembly of Vaishnavas? Some Vaishnava, multiple Vaishnavas, took some mercy and then expressed some grace upon me. And that's such a great honor, and I honor it. And like Sugriva's situation as a lesson only, that when he's not honored so, then I'm vulnerable to the onslaughts of the mental energy to be beaten up. Bali beat up Sugriva, trashed him completely. Where's the protection? Where is the shelter? So that Gajapratha, whatever is there, is this great protection. That's why he's Manata. All right, I'm done. I'm by no means saying something that as if I know better or something. Just that this is an appreciation for Lakshmana Deva. In that spirit, I'm speaking, and nobody to tell anyone here that. I hope you also accept it in that spirit. Like, any comments, questions, thoughts, reflection, anything? You like the Lakshmana topic? It's one of my favorite topics. It took me a good amount of time to suddenly get inspired by the word man. And actually, that is what started for me this kind of research and putting it together. Because suddenly the word Manada struck me so much that Ramachandra wants Lakshmana to do the honors. Although he's the one who should be, he makes Lakshmana do the honors on Vibhishana. That was very moving for me. And then the conversation with Hanuman, the Sugriva situation. So sidebar, what made Sugriva not treat Lakshmana with honor? That's not in the Valmiki Ramayana. In the Bhagavatam, when Dvivida enters Vrindavan, he does a whole bunch of mischief and is killed by Balaram. Jiva Goswami comments that because Dvivida had offended Lakshmana. So, as far as I know, Srila Prabhupada Maharaj took that and went around researching, talking to different Vaishnavas, digging that and put together a whole presentation, which is there somewhere. But here's the story that Dvivida is with Sugriva when Rama and Lakshmana come to meet him. And when he honors Ramachandra and gives him a place to sit, Dvivida says in the ear of Sugriva, you don't need to worry about Lakshmana. He's just there. You focus on Ram. He's going to help you get your kingdom back. You just forget it. Let's just go. Don't, as they say in Bombay, bhav mat do. He's not important. Don't worry, he's not. And that sound vibration in Sugriva's ear led Sugriva to not honor Lakshmana. But Hanuman breaks the branch and does it. Now he did something even when his king is standing there. But Sugriva didn't get the message. But Hanuman made sure that Lakshmana has a good seat. And not once, twice. Because every time it comes, don't pay attention. That was Dvivida's offense. That later Balaram, Lakshmana, Balaram killed Dvivida. That's the reason why Sugriva. So, what kind of sound vibration about others we hear? Arey wo aisa hai, this one aisi hai, wo hai. That sound vibration has an impact. That's what Sugriva got nicely humbled until he bowed down. But it still is there. In Sugriva, because he bowed down, Mahinda and Dvivida are still fighting in the battle. Right? They fought for Sri Ramachandra. They did great service. They killed many demons, generals on the Ravana's side. But it means that little sand in the sweet rice is there. And that had to be removed by Lord Balaram later.
But did Sugriva realize that he had?
So the good things are Sri Ramachandra, the Supreme Lord, doesn't have to every time spell out ki, hey, tumhe, this is your problem, this is your problem. What is important is not the diagnosis, but the cure. Sometimes diagnosis is required, but cure is more important. So Ramachandra, in a very, because he after all accepted him as a friend. So let it pass in such a way that he got cured of it. So he got cured.
Say that only take the dust from the
So that's what he did. He bowed down to Lakshmana. Conscious or unconscious, by the act of it, he bowed down to Lakshmana. And that's what Ramachandra considered as good enough. That he accept.
I understand that this is a all karma fall. Whatever wrong things we do, we will get cured. That whatever Sugriv did this, he has to be cured by from by.
So he got beat up, no? He got beat up for the offense.
And as I sort of he is purified by the process. Whatever he did to Lakshmana.
He got, I don't know if he got purified, but he got something as a reaction. But Ramachandra gives him another chance. Go back to Bali. But this time, you wear the Braja Pushpa from Lakshmana. So now not only is he gotten the, because a reaction means it removes the effect. That's what a reaction is, right? But now he's not only inoculated, but now elevated and purified. So he can fight Bali. And it brings Yasya Prasada, Bhagavati Prasada. Only bow down to Lakshmana, so Rama shot the army. Otherwise, he didn't shot. He said you both look the same. Like that.
But he does most of the things, whether you are devotee, whatever wrong things you are doing, you have to be the result of it.
Just because I'm wearing kanti mala doesn't give me the license to do anything.
Yes,
But the Lord is very
But-
smart that he knows how to correct it. So each person may not get exactly the same medicine, but the outcome will be the same. Somebody may get very quick reaction, somebody will get something else, but still that will be cured by the way. Why one gets this, why he gets that, he knows better. But everyone will get purified.
But this one, how do you explain that, like that, even Balaram, when he was having with Duryodhan, he was his disciple. He came and when something wrong, he even asked Lord Krishna. So similar thing, of course, he had to go down and believe Lord Krishna. So he went back again. So even this Lakshmana, when Bharat came with all the in the Chitrakut mountain to take Lord Rama back to whatever my mother had done, and he took her mother also. But there, Lakshmana told, no, he might be coming to kill you or whatever.
He said he brought the whole army with him. He brought the whole army.
Whole
So
army.
Ramachandra says to Lakshmana at that point, oh, you have a doubt like that? I don't think Bharata is like that. So how about this? I keep Bharata with me in the forest, you take Ayodhya and go back. She said, no, 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 no. So that's the correction, little
Correct.
corrections. Ramachandra, Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're very experts. It doesn't mean that every time, every mistake has to have a drama behind it. Some needs a drama, some needs this, some needs that. Sometimes just simply quickly correct it. Sanatan Goswami, not that he was making a mistake, but Sanatan Goswami, after leaving, came all the way to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and felt like I should not do this. So he still was wearing his silk chadar. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at that silk chadar and either made a comment or a gesture, something. I can't recall the specific. And Sanatan Goswami caught it. He went to a beggar, gave him his silk chadar and torn one thing from him. And that beggar was like, what? What kind of exchange is it? And when he came wearing that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, Sanatan, welcome, everything, something, like he accepted. But that's just to look correct. Just to look. Okay, anyone else? If not, that's okay. We can end a little early. But any final? I don't want to not. You have something, Prabhu? Okay. Ah, yes. Ruma Tara Sugriva. I did. I did not explain. What is the cliffhanger? So, Vali kicked Sugriva out of the kingdom. We all know the story. So Tara was there and Ruma was there. Ruma is Sugriva's wife. Vali took Ruma as his wife. And when Ramachandra killed or shot an arrow to Vali, Vali raises 13 objections. 13. There are a list of it. I'll give you one or two as sample. He says, this is not your kingdom. So why are you shooting an arrow? Second, he says, I haven't done any mistake. So on what basis they killed me? And there's a list. In fact, he called Ramachandra, you call yourself from the Ikshwaku dynasty, you're number one cheater. You're a Mithyachara. You're like the dry well on which grass grows. So you think it is land, but actually it's a deep well. You're like that. You're a cheater. He says nasty things. Then Rama just smiles and answers all his 13 doubts. And one of the things Ramachandra says is, you are fit to be killed because you violated a dharma. You accepted your brother's wife as your wife. And your brother is alive. Then, Vali, after all this conversation, Vali tells Ramachandra, you are right. You are the best among dharmic people. You are the best. I accept everything you said, that you are right. I was wrong. And he gives up his life. Then, but he says, please make sure that my son Nagada is not ignored. Ramachandra promises, never. It will always be there. Sugriva becomes king of Kishkinda. Roma gets back with Sugriva. Tara also becomes Sugriva's wife. Ramachandra is not objecting. That was the thing is, in the Vanaras, Ramachandra told Vali, Sugriva's wife, she's your younger brother's wife. You should not act. While he's alive, she's like your daughter. Now, in this case, Vali is dead. Tara cannot be without shelter. So apparently, in the Vanaras, if the husband is dead, she can be accepted as well. So Ramachandra, as the Dharma Vatsala, did not object to that. And Tara was with Sugriva. But Vali, what he did was, when Sugriva was still alive, no answer. He fixes it. And the shloka for this is Hanuman narrates to Sita Devi, Rakshita Swasya Dharmasya. Rakshita Swasya Dharmasya Paradharmasya Cha Rakshita. Ramachandra is such a person who will always protect dharma, his, and make sure that others will also protect dharma. Rakshita Jiva Lokasya Swajanasya Cha Rakshita. Swajanasya. He makes sure that everybody is becoming part of his Swajana, his own, and then he will protect all of them. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai.